Hi children, good morning to all of you. I hope you're all doing fine during this COVID times. So, last class we have discussed the cell cycle and cell division. I hope you understood that very clearly. Anyway, I'll give you a brief overview of what I have discussed in last class. And today's class will be the part 3, and this is the last part of this particular chapter. So, let me briefly try and recollect what we have discussed in the last part. Children, we started with looking at different phases of cell cycle, that is the interphase and mitosis, and you understood that interphase is the majority phase where 90% of the activity will be happening, and it's very active phase rather than a resting phase, and it is further subdivided into three phases. What are those? G1 or first growth phase, S phase or synthesis phase, G2 or second growth phase. I hope you understood what that is. Then we have gone into detail what exactly the cell will be doing within these three phases. Then after this phase, certain cells will enter into the G0 or resting phase, and others will directly enter into the mitosis or dividing phase. So we have looked at the four subphases of mitosis. And what exactly is mitosis? Mitosis is an equational division. I hope you are recollecting whatever we have discussed within this four subphases. I won't go into those details. I'll just give you just look at what we have discussed, because this is very important in understanding meiosis. Meiosis, which I'll be discussing in this part, you must recollect all the things that happened within this four subphases of the mitosis, isn't it? So within prophase, you understood that nucleolus will disappear, nuclear membrane will disappear, and chromosomes will get condensed. And you already learned that within the interphase is where duplication of DNA occurs. It should be very clear to you all. Then within the metaphase, you understood that all chromosomes will be arranged at the equatorial region, and that is because of the spindle fibers which get attached to the centromeres. And within the anaphase is where the actual split happens between the chromatids. You all have clear idea about that. And the telophase is the one actually where the spindle fibers will be constructing, and the chromatids will move to the opposite poles, and they are known as the chromosomes. And then the cytokinesis will happen, and karyokinesis is nothing but all the division of the nucleus that you have seen within these phases. And we have understood the various differences between the plants and animals with respect to mitosis. Is it clear? So this will be the part 3, and let me give you an overview of what I'll be covering in today's class. So today's class is little bit brief and small class, because most of the things what is there in this particular part is not included in your syllabus. But anyway, I'll just give you an overview of what is there. So we'll be discussing and looking at what exactly is meiosis, the second type of cell division, then stages in meiosis, where exactly meiosis occurs, its significance and difference between mitosis and meiosis. So let us look at the first topic for today's class, that is the meiosis. So children, in this slide we are going to look at meiosis, and meiosis is one of the very complicated topic in your biology textbook. Anyway, I'll try and make it simplified for you for understanding. So first, you understand that meiosis is a reductional division, and it produces gametes. Very, very important point, children. It produces gametes. And the difference, first, before learning the definition, you should understand that meiosis, where does it occur? It occurs in gametes producing organs. So in humans, especially in male, it occurs in the testis, and in females it occurs in the ovary. That should be very clear to you all. First, you understand that meiosis doesn't occur in all the types of cells. Other than your sex producing cells, all other cells are known as somatic cells. And sexual gamete producing cells are nothing but your sex organs. That should be very clear to you all. In males it is testis, in females it is ovary. That is the number one thing you should be very clear. And then the second point you should be very clear to you all, that is meiosis is the reductional division, which means it produces haploid set, cells having haploid set of chromosomes. What that is, I'll explain to you all in a minute. So mitosis, you learned that if a cell is dividing into two daughter cells, even the daughter cells also will be having the same set of chromosomes, which means if it is having 2n set, this already I discussed, this also will be having 2n set of chromosomes, that is 2n set of chromosomes. For example, if that particular cell is your skin cell, which is having 46 chromosomes, that is 23 pairs, even this another newly formed skin cell will be having 23 pairs of chromosomes, this also will be having 23 pairs. But in meiosis, it is not like that. It ultimately results in, and don't get confused with this thing, anyway I'll explain to you all. It just has the resultant cells will be having 23 chromosomes, not the 46 chromosomes. Anyway, I'll explain to that in a minute. So children, you learned that meiosis will be occurring in the gamete producing organs. So that is testis and ovary. With respect to plants, it will be anthers as well as within the ovary. Is it clear? So first let me explain you to the concept of what is haploid and diploid. You already know that, within normal somatic cells, the total number of chromosomes occurs that occurs in pairs. We call it as 2n, or we call it usually as diploid. Is it clear? So normally in somatic cells, the total set of chromosomes, let us say if I take human beings, we have 23 pairs of chromosomes, and we generally, the total number we call them as 46 chromosomes. But what happens within this, gametes producing sex organs like in testis and all, certain cells which are diploid will divide by this process called as meiosis. By what process it is? By meiosis. Okay. And what they do is they produce, a single cell will produce 4 different cells. That should be very clear to you all. And what happens within these 4 cells, the chromosome complement, that is 2n, will get reduced into n. That is, let us say if the 2n is 46 chromosomes, okay, or 23 pairs, the resultant chromosomes will be just 23 only. In this also 23 will be there, in this also 23 will be there, in this also 23 will be there, in this also 23 will be there. Don't look from maths perspective. Okay, how it happens anyway we'll discuss that. So this 23, half the complement is called as haploid. That should be very clear to you. How that happens, anyway we have the entire class for discussion. Okay, so it should be very clear to you all. 2n means diploid, n means haploid. N is exactly half the complement, and this n, or the cells that are having this n complement is produced because of the meiosis division, and these only, if they are produced in your testis, they are known as the cells will further get modified and they become what? Sperms. Okay, and with respect to females, they become egg. Is it clear? And the sperm and egg, when they get fused to it, again, that is fertilization, your diploid complement will be formed. That happens within the zygote during fertilization. Zygote will be formed as a resultant of fertilization. Is that clear? So after understanding the process of meiosis, that is the reduction and division, let us look at certain definitions and concepts. So meiosis, meion in Greek means to lessen. To lessen means which is getting reduced, referring to the reduction of chromosome number. You already know that. And it is kind of a cell division that produces the sex cells or the gametes. So what are those? Sperms, eggs, and with respect to plants, pollen grains, and embryo sac or the female gametophyte. You will learn that. So where does it takes place? It takes place in the reproductive organs, that is testis and ovary in humans to produce sperms and ova. Ova's another name is egg children. Okay. So in flowering plants, it takes place in the anthers and the ovule to produce pollen grains and female gametophyte. So, like anthers is kind of an organ that represents like testis for human beings, and ovule is like ovary. Sperms are like the pollen grains, and the eggs or ova is like the female gametophyte or the embryo sac. You will learn later on. So this is the comparison between the meiosis and mitosis. You can see, mitosis, the 2n cell will be dividing into two daughter cells, which again are 2n. But in case of meiosis, the 2n, meiosis occurs in two stages, children. Anyway, you learn that meiosis 1 is the reductional division and meiosis 2 is equational division. Okay, so meiosis 1 is just like not what I meant is like mitosis produces two cells, and this again will produces two cells. This again will produces two cells. Anyway, we'll understand this process in detail in coming slides. So children, this slide is continuation from the previous slide only. So we'll understand mitosis a little bit in more detail. Anyway, just look at the matter first. So the first point is that most significant aspect of meiosis, that is diminution, is that number of chromosomes in the sex cells is halved. We understood this by I explained to you all in that blank sheet. Is it clear? That's what is that it gets halved. For example, out of the 23 pairs of chromosomes in humans, only single set of chromosomes, one member each pair, are passed to the sex cells. So how did we express then? This is essential because when the male and female gametes fuse during fertilization, the normal double or diploid number of chromosomes is required. Please recollect what I have discussed within the white slide. Okay, that must be clear to you all. Then the diploid number as a rule is expressed as 2n and the haploid number as an n. And look at the images, children. First look at this human, this thing. Okay, right. I want you all to start from this particular place. So where does it occur? In testis, in ovary. So what they produce, you see, within the testis and ovary, in certain cells, the meiosis occurs, isn't it? And meiosis is occurring and producing what? The gametes. The gametes is the egg and the sperm. You can see them. Okay, so they have got only half the complement, 23 chromosomes, N, 23 chromosomes, M, and they both get fused to produce, when they get fused during fertilization, to produce the 2n, that is the 46 chromosomes. And this is our zygote. With repeated divisions of mitosis, we will be born. The cycle will continue on. That's why it is a cell cycle. And same is the case of flower also. You can see where exactly it's happening, in the ovary, within the carpel, isn't it? Then also within the anther, that is the male representation. Okay, and to produce the microspores or the pollen grains. That should be very clear to you. So children, in this slide we'll understand how exactly meiosis occurs, but you should know that, see, discussing all the stages and looking very detailed into entire meiosis is beyond the scope of your syllabus. So it is not part of your syllabus and nobody will ask you questions on this thing also. But getting an idea of what exactly happens is important. That's what your textbook also aims at, and that's what is given in your syllabus also. You see how many stages. First thing, meiosis happens in two particular substages, that is meiosis 1 and meiosis 2, isn't it? And meiosis 1 is the reductional phase and meiosis 2 is just like your mitosis. That's where you can see the name of the stages also. They are like mitosis, isn't it? So I won't go into detail, okay, because going into detail will take another 2 different classes. If you want me to go into detail, when I come there, I'll go into detail at that point of time, because if you are not understanding that, but I'll give you an overview of what exactly happens. You please concentrate and listen to me now. Okay, right. See, I already told you meiosis 1 and meiosis 2. Let us look at the meiosis 1, which is the reductional phase. So meiosis 1 is further divided into 4 further subphases. What are those? Prophase 1, metaphase 1, anaphase 1 and telophase 1. Is it clear? So this is just like, mitosis, isn't it? Pro, meta, ana and telophase, and recollect the mnemonic which I gave you. Okay? Right. Now, you should, it will be a little bit awkward. Again, this prophase 1 is further divided into 5 subphases. I won't go into those in detail, but I'll tell you what exactly happens within prophase. You recollect what happened within the mitosis. Before prophase 1, within the interphase, there is duplication of, chromosomes, isn't it? There is duplication of chromosomes. Okay? So how does chromosomes looks like when there is duplication? They look like this, isn't it? Right? And you also know that every time a pair is represented by what? Another chromosome also will be there, isn't it? Able to look at this picture clearly, isn't it? Or the red is, being masked by this red thing. So let us say this is the first pair. Let us say this is the second pair. Okay? Right? So why I am representing chromosomes like this? You know that there is a duplication happened. And why these are pair? I already introduced what are those pairs are known as. They are known as homologous chromosomes. So first pair of chromosomes are homologous chromosomes, second pairs of chromosomes are homologous chromosomes. And the difference within this picture is the homologous chromosomes are represented by different colors. Please be very clear, children. This two are one pair, this two are the second pair, this three are the third pair. It should be very clear to you all. And you see the blue is again, like this, the duplicated chromosomes can be clearly seen. So this is what happened within the interphase. So within prophase, what happens is this homologous chromosomes will come very close, children. If these two are the homologous chromosomes, they come very close. Okay, they come very close, and you can see that. So when they come very close together, I already introduced the terms of sister chromatids also. Please look at the mitosis. So these two are sister chromatids and these two are non-sister chromatids, isn't it? And these two are sister chromatids. Now what happens is, within this non-sister chromatids, they will pair together. You can see here. Of course it's not so clear, but look at your textbook. The non-sister chromatids will pair together, and then when they are pairing together, let me say, we'll go to blank screen. That will be more clear. Okay. So I have drawn sister chromatids. Let me change the color of the pen. Can I? So these are the first pair, let us say first pair, and they are homologous chromosomes. And these two are what? Sister chromatids. And these two are what? These two are what? Non-sister chromatids. So when these chromosomes, homologous chromosomes come together, the term is known as pairing up of chromosomes. That happens in the first prophase. Is it clear? Then what happens is, when these two non-sister chromatids come together, they exchange their parts. They exchange their parts in so much so that, they look like X, you see here. They join completely. I might not be able to draw it that clearly, and that is known as, crossing over. What it is known as? It is known as crossing over. So what happens is, certain segments of this particular chromosome will be exchanged by this part, and certain segments of this particular chromatid will be exchanged by this thing. And during crossing over is the time when they exchange their parts. It should be very clear to you all. Okay. So during crossing over, they form X-like structure that is known as chiasmata. They form X-like structure that is known as chiasmata, and they exchange certain parts. That's how genetic variations are usually seen within an individual. So what all I introduced to you all? I introduced what are sister chromatids, what are non-sister chromatids, and these all things happens within the prophase one. So pairing up of chromosomes happens, that is two homologous chromosomes will come together. Then there is a crossing over. During crossing over, chiasmata will be formed, and during that time there is exchange of segments within the non-sister chromatids happens, and they again separate together. That is known as terminalization. I won't go into much more detail, what are the stages and all. This much will be sufficient for you. So children, so that's what happened in prophase. You learned whatever I have discussed just now. Is it clear? Now what happens is, the chiasmata and crossing over which you have seen, the still non-sister chromatids are attached like that. You see, they are attached within this homologous chromosomes. The non-sister chromatids are still attached at a certain point. So during metaphase, you already know what happens like exactly in metaphase. The centromere, centrosome. See here, I think they have given it wrong. It should be centrosome or centriole. It forms the microtubules, and you already know that microtubules attach to the centromere. So where they are attaching this, they are attaching to the centromere of two particular homologous chromosomes. You see homologous, this is one homologous chromosome, this is one homologous chromosome. And when they are pulling apart, actually they are pulling apart one particular homologous chromosome, not the chromatid. It should be very clear to you all. Okay? So the homologous chromosomes which came together during prophase get separated within the anaphase, and in telophase, already they move to their opposite poles, and two particular cytokinesis also will be happening, and two particular new cells will be formed. Children, what happened within the prophase? The homologous chromosomes came together, that is known as pairing up, and within the next three stages, the homologous chromosomes get separated. But when they move to the, let us say in telophase, they move to the opposite poles. You know how the chromosomes will look within the telophase? They look like this only still. Is it clear? So, but the homologous chromosomes, the red and blue, get separated, actually speaking. Okay? And you can see the exchanged parts are represented like this, you see. So these also has got 3 now, these also got 3. Now within this meiosis 2, there won't be any interface. Directly they will enter into other substages, that is prophase 2, metaphase 2, anaphase 2 and telophase 2. Here what happens? Just like meiosis, recollect meiosis, what happened? This particular duplicated chromosome, now within the metaphase, you see, the centriole will attach to the actual centromere of one individual chromosome, and the chromatids will get separated here. In case of meiosis 2, what happens? The chromatids will get separated. You see, the chromatids are moving to the opposite poles. This is just like the mitosis which you have seen. You look at the mitosis, this stage will be very clear to you all. And chromatids will get separated, they move to the opposite poles, and once they move to the opposite poles in the telophase, they are known as the chromosome. So resultant, how many cells you got? You see here. So here you got another 2, here you got another 2. That's why meiosis will result in totally how many cells? 4 cells. I know it is very confusing to you all, but I am tied because I should not explain all the particular stages in detail. Why? Because it is not included in your syllabus. Anyway, you will be learning this in your higher classes. I definitely can go in detail and I can explain to you all, but please rewatch the video. If you are not understanding still, you can always ask me to do. When I come there, I will repeat this entire meiosis again. Is it clear? So children, I'll briefly summarize what I have discussed in the last few slides. So you understood that meiosis is a reductional division, and meiosis will result in 4 haploid gametes. That should be very clear to us. And meiosis occurs within two phases, meiosis 1 and meiosis 2. Meiosis 1 is reductional phase, meiosis 2 is just like mitosis. So meiosis 1 is divided into 4 subphases: prophase 1, metaphase 1, anaphase 1 and telophase 1. Prophase 1 is further divided into 5 substages, but what happens within the 5 substages? Nucleolus will disappear, chromosomes will get condensed, and you already know that each pair has got 2 chromosomes and they are known as homologous, and they come together, that is known as pairing up of chromosomes, and non-sister chromatids will exchange parts, that is known as the crossing over, and non-sister chromatids will form in an X-shaped thing structure that is known as chiasmata. So next subsequent stages, that is metaphase 1 and anaphase 1 and telophase 1, is the phases where the homologous chromosomes will get separated. That should be very clear to you all. And homologous chromosomes will get separated and form into 2 cells. But these 2 cells, rather than being like that without entering into interphase, again they enter into meiosis 2. So what exactly is meiosis 2? Again it is divided into 4 subphases and it is just like mitosis only. So what happens within that is the duplicated chromosomes which are formed from the meiosis 1, and duplication, where did it happen? It happened within the interphase prior to that. Now they exactly follow the mitosis procedure, which means the centriole which they have divided into 2, you see in both the cells, will bring them to the equatorial plate in the metaphase 1 by attaching them into the centromere, and within the anaphase 2 the microtubules will condense and will separate the chromatids together. You already learned that within the mitosis, and that will move into the opposite poles. You see they moved into opposite poles, and further within the telophase the complete movement into opposite poles happens and cytokinesis will happen, resulting into they each forming into 2 cells, and totally 4 cells will be formed, and they will be having half the complement of the original cell. That's why they are haploid cells. That should be very clear to you all. Your textbook and your syllabus has stressed on this thing, significance of meiosis. Let us look at that. You already know that chromosome number is halved in the gametes, so that on fertilization normal number is restored. That's what we discussed this in the first slide of the blank page, isn't it? Meiosis is the one where gametes, though they are having half the complement of chromosomes, during fertilization again the diploid complement is restored. So that is restoration of 2, and that is one important point. Then it provides for mixing up of genes. So the crossing over which we discussed, right, which you will be learning of higher classes, you see the non-sister chromatids are exchanging their parts. The non-sister chromatids of 2 homologous chromosomes are exchanging their parts. Okay, so this causes the mixing up of genes. Okay, this chromosome will be having genes. You already learned that in the first part that chromosomes have got genes. So whatever genes are there in this chromosome, when it get exchanged with this chromosome, there is mixing up of genes happening, isn't it? So that's what it means. So that is genetic variation. Mixing up of genes causes the genetic variation. So how the mixing up of genes is happening is shown in this. You see, the maternal and paternal chromosomes get mixed up during the first reduction division as they separate from the homologous pair. Remember children, the one pair which we are discussing, within that the homologous chromosomes are there. See, one you would have got from your mother, one you would have got from your father. Okay, so that is what it means, maternal and paternal chromosomes. Okay, so while the maternal and paternal chromosomes are separating, that's what happened within the reductional division, meiosis 1, remember. Separating the chromatid material very often gets exchanged between the 2 members of the homologous pair, that is crossing over. Okay, which results in genetic recombination. And chiasmata, which we discussed already, is the X-shaped structure formed during the crossing over between the non-sister chromatids of the paired homologous chromosomes. You please go watch through the video, it will be very clear to you. So meiosis causes first reduction in chromosome number, then fusion of gametes will again restore the 2n. So crossing over and independent assortment will cause the genetic variation. So you can mention all these points when we talk about the significance of meiosis. So in this slide we'll look at the difference between mitosis and meiosis. By now it should be very clear to you all the difference between mitosis and meiosis, but let us see. So first point, where it occurs. Somatic body cells and reproductive cells, very clear. For what? For growth and reproduction. Zygote, from zygote with multiple divisions of mitosis you are formed, isn't it? It usually helps in gamete formation. This also is one significant point, you can remember that one. When it occurs continuously throughout its life, during reproductively active stage, it should be very clear to you all, because meiosis happens in reproductive cells, and when you get matured only, this meiosis is the one which will become active at that point of time. So number of daughter cells produced, 2 and 4 daughter cells. That should be clear to you all by the stages I explained. Number of chromosomes passed on to each cell. Full set of chromosomes is passed on to each daughter cell. This is the diploid number of chromosomes. I need not explain. Only half the number of chromosomes. Only one member of each pair is passed on to each daughter cell. This is the haploid number of chromosomes. This should be clear to you all by the stages I explained. Then, number of nuclear division. A single nuclear division after chromosome duplication. That's what is mitosis. 2 nuclear divisions. That's what you have seen. Meiosis 1 and meiosis 2. It should be very clear to you all. So look at the 7th point. Identity of chromosomes and genes in the daughter cell. They are identical. Okay? Why? Because they are just like clone. 2n from this particular parent cell, the daughter cells also will be having 2n, isn't it? That's why they are clone or identical. But in case of meiosis, they are randomly assorted between gametes produced, and this results in genetic variation. Because of the crossing over, it produces, because crossing over happens within the gametes and new set of genes are seen within different gametes. Because of that, it results in genetic variation. So let me recapitulate what I have discussed within this particular part. So we understood the definition of meiosis. It is a reductional division that produces sex cells or gametes, which happens within that thing. So where does it happen? Reproductive organs in humans to produce sperms and ova, in flowering plants within the anthers and ovules. That should be very clear to you all. Okay? And I have explained all these things by showing you on a blank sheet. Is it clear? By drawing all these things. Then the stages, again I summarized in very detail. If not further in detail, what are the different stages within the prophase 1 and what exactly happens within those stages in detail. If you want to know, I'll take a separate class altogether later on. But remember, it is not included in your syllabus, so it's waste of time to discuss those things also. But understanding these things, what happened, I already explained that to you in detail, right? Then we have looked at the significance of meiosis, then the difference between mitosis and meiosis. So I want you all to, so in 3 parts we have discussed this entire chapter. It's quite a lengthy chapter, and I want you all to do all the lesson and questions. Certain students have definitely completed them, and if they have not completed certain topics, please do them, and whatever you have completed and sent to me, you need not do them. But students who didn't do this lesson and questions, please do that, and also please write down the running notes of what I have given today. If possible, draw the diagrams also. It is important in that respect. Anyway, you have to learn this in your higher classes. Learn it now itself. Is it clear? So with this, we have completed this part 10 chapter. Again, I'll see you in the next chapter with a new part. Until then, take care, keep learning, and thank you.